You wanted it for years. Maybe it was the job, the apartment, the relationship, the number on the scale, the salary, the city. Whatever it was, you thought about it constantly. You planned for it, you sacrificed for it, you stayed up late for it. You told yourself that once you had it, things would finally feel different, and then you got it. And for a moment it did feel different. There was a rush, a real one. Your body flooded with something warm and electric, and you thought, a circumflex euros, this is it. This is what I was working toward. And then slowly, without you even noticing it happening, the feeling faded. The job became just work, the apartment became just home, the relationship became just Tuesday. The number became just a number, and you were left standing in the middle of everything you wanted, feeling almost exactly the same as before. And the terrifying thought crept in, is something wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. What is happening to you has a name, and it has been happening to every human being who has ever lived. It is called hedonic adaptation. Your brain is not designed to let you stay happy, not because it is cruel, but because happiness, to your nervous system, is not a destination. It is a signal, a piece of biological information that tells you something important just happened. And once your brain has registered that information and adjusted to the new reality, the signal fades, because it no longer needs to be sent. Think about how your eyes work when you walk into a dark room. At first you cannot see anything. Slowly your pupils dilate, your vision adjusts. Within minutes you can see perfectly well. The darkness has not changed, your perception of it has. That is adaptation. And your brain does the exact same thing with every good thing that enters your life. Psychologist Sonia Lyubomirsky has spent decades studying human happiness and found something that most people find deeply uncomfortable when they first hear it. Roughly 50% of your baseline happiness level is determined by genetics, a circumflex euros, a kind of happiness set point you were born with. About 10% is determined by your life circumstances, a circumflex euros, your income, your job, your relationship status, where you live. And the remaining 40% is determined by your daily intentional activities. 10%, that is all that circumstances account for. The thing you spent years chasing, a circumflex euros, the promotion, the house, the achievement, a circumflex euros, lives in that 10% slice. And your brain adapts to it almost immediately. This is why lottery winners, studies consistently show, return to roughly their previous happiness levels within a year of winning. And it is also why people who experience serious injuries, a circumflex euros, losing a limb, becoming paralyzed, a circumflex euros, also return to roughly their previous happiness levels within about a year. The brain adapts upward and downward with remarkable speed and thoroughness. It does not discriminate between the things you gained and the things you lost. It just recalibrates. But here is where it gets interesting, because hedonic adaptation is not equally fast for everything, and understanding what slows it down might be one of the most useful things you ever learn. Researcher Thomas Jailovich at Cornell University found that people adapt to material things, a circumflex euros, objects, possessions, even homes, a circumflex euros, much faster than they adapt to experiences. A new car becomes background within months, but the memory of a remarkable trip, a meaningful conversation, a moment of genuine connection, a circumflex euros, these do not fade in the same way. Every time you recall an experience, your brain reconstructs it with fresh emotional detail. The experience keeps giving, the possession stops giving almost immediately. This is why you can still feel something when you think about a trip you took 5 years ago, but you probably feel almost nothing about the phone you bought that same year. There is also another force working against hedonic adaptation. Variety. Psychologist Kenan Sheldon found that varying how you engage with the things you love dramatically slows the rate of adaptation. The person who takes the same walk every morning adapts to it quickly. The person who takes a different route, notices different things, brings different questions to the same walk, a circumflex euros. That person keeps experiencing the walk as something alive and present. Novelty inside the familiar. That is what keeps joy from going stale. But there is something even deeper here. Something that the research keeps pointing toward that most people resist hearing. The wanting is always going to feel bigger than the having. Your brain is a prediction machine, and anticipation, a circumflex euros, the state of moving towards something you desire, a circumflex euros, activates your reward system more powerfully than actually receiving the thing. The chase is neurologically louder than the catch. This is not a flaw in you. This is ancient wiring. An ancestor who got what they wanted and immediately stopped wanting anything would not have survived very long. So your brain learned to keep wanting, to keep moving, to let every achievement become a new baseline from which more wanting begins. The problem is that modern life has turned this ancient engine into a treadmill. You achieve, you adapt. You want again, you achieve, you adapt, you want again, and you call this progress. But underneath it, if you are honest, there is a quiet exhaustion, a sense of arriving somewhere and finding that somewhere has moved. So what do you actually do? You cannot turn off hedonic adaptation. It is too deep in your biology, but you can work with it instead of against it. You can invest in experiences over possessions. You can introduce variety into the things you already have instead of constantly seeking new things. You can practice what researchers call savoring acircumflex euros, deliberately slowing down and paying full attention to good moments while they are happening, instead of rushing through them toward the next thing. You can share your good fortune with others, because generosity consistently creates one of the slowest adapting forms of positive emotion the brain produces. And you can do one more thing, one simple, counterintuitive thing. Imagine losing it. Psychologist Timothy Wilson found that mentally subtracting a good thing from your life acircumflex euros, imagining what your life would look like without it acircumflex euros, reliably reactivates the appreciation that adaptation had silenced. Not dwelling on loss, just visiting the possibility of absence briefly to make presence feel vivid again. The life you are living right now contains things that future you will one day miss deeply, not because they will be gone, but because right now your brain has adapted to them so thoroughly that you have stopped seeing them at all. They are still there, still real, still good, you just forgot to notice.